Hi, it's Faye and Jeff from earlytrauma.com. Last week we started a series on teams, how families need a support system. And last week's videos were about the pressures that families face that cause them to become isolated. This week, we want to introduce the idea of teams with some tools that you as parents can use with your extended family, professionals, even your grandma and granddad. These are tools, simple tools that you can use to help reinforce the treatment that's going on in your home. So,
And we should say right off the top that these tools are to be used by educated team members who are familiar with the emotional cognitive trauma model that we put out, the paradigm shift that's required, the
yeah.
negative internal working model, those sort of things. Once they know what's going on, how you're working to
Mhm.
create that healing environment, then they can contribute in these ways.
Yeah, especially like with this first worksheet, they're simple statements to, well, we've grouped into four areas to help the kids understand what's going on. They're statements, narrations that others can use. And as Jeff mentioned, the negative internal working model, that's the first group of our kids. They have a negative internal working model. Their basic belief about themselves is they're a bad kid, they're unlovable, and that adults, caregivers in particular, can't be trusted, and that the world is unsafe. So, throughout the day, it is so important to provide reframes for our kids so that they can um, have others' voices to explain the circumstances. Otherwise, the kids will only see those and have those experiences that come registered through their trauma model that's in their brain. So, by other people providing narration of things, then the kids will have a more broad view of
It,
what's going
they're
on.
going to be interacting with the child,
Hmm.
and you're thinking people might be babysitters or coaches or family members that are just over, so they're going to be interacting. So a lot of times there'll be statements like, you know, I was bad for mommy today or something like that. That's when you want to be able to go, you're really a very lovable kid.
Hmm.
Okay. You might have some behavior things or you might have some things going on, and we'll get into this later, but you're a lovable kid. So you challenge that I'm bad message
Hmm.
with a you are lovable message. And of course, there's always my mommy, you know, hung me up by my thumbs this morning and beat me with a bamboo stick. When you get those stories out there, that's when these team members can point out, your mom is pretty good. She's pretty nice.
Hmm.
I like your mom. I have a really hard time thinking she would, but I'll tell you what, I can call her and see if she
Hmm.
needs help with the bamboo thing or something like that. Um, you know, um, there's you challenge that belief that my home is not a safe one with.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to the whole negative internal working model with the three beliefs. I'm unlovable, caregivers can't be trusted, and the world is unsafe. And the first one of those beliefs that's the easiest to crack, that we have more power about,
Mhm.
is the one about the caregivers being trustworthy. And so, as Jeff was joking about the bamboo thing, our kids come up with all kinds of stories, and we do have to check them out for safety sakes and things. But it's really important for us to reinforce that these parents can be trusted. They were entrusted with the care of this child, whether it's through a foster care or adoption, and these parents need supported and that they are trustworthy people. And for all of us to get behind them and demonstrate, yes, we trust them. Look, your mom, she got you shoes. She packed your bathing suit today for camp. She put your favorite peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the in your lunch. Each of these are very specific items that highlight the point that the parent can be trusted.
Just the offhand statement. You got a good mom,
Hmm.
and move on.
Hmm.
And they can deliver those statements all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you're a good kid. You're safe. You know, a lot of times the stories will reflect things like, yeah, I was out in the garage playing with the electric saw, and what we need is we needed caregivers who are team members who are going to be able to say, well, your mom, she goes to a lot of effort to keep you safe, so I, I'm going to check on that,
Hmm.
because I think your home is pretty safe overall.
Yeah.
And just that redirection back to the
Hmm.
safety of the mom, the quality of the mom, the value of the child, the uh, integrity of the environment that they're in now. You
Hmm.
can even make statements to the reverse. You can say, I don't know, you might be confusing stories or something because I heard you came from a pretty dangerous
Hmm.
environment. So maybe you're thinking, so you can start to link it that way, which leads us into our second category.
Hmm.
Our second category of statements that the parents can make is just that observation that the child does have a part of themselves that were hurt,
Hmm.
that that the bad behaviors and the emotions and stuff they're coming from that hurt part's fear, and it's not them, it's not the child. So this cuts down on the um, how many times have I told you to do this? They can say, oh, it looks like that hurt part is getting the better of you right now.
Hmm.
So you can highlight for the child where these behaviors are coming from and contribute to the overall um, changes that you want the child to make to view himself as good.
Hmm.
You're a good kid. Basically, the paradigm shift is you're a good kid with a hurt part that causes you problems sometimes. So you keep reframing to that.
When I sit here and thinking about the things that I was saying about the internal working model and your reframes around the hurt part, our teams have to be very, one, educated and equipped. They may need these statements on a on the card just to until you get into the swing of things of what is your goal, and that your goal is really to help your child's brain calm down, to be less afraid, and to be able to see things more clearly through their thinking brain.
I remember a TSS we worked with one time who would come in, and when the kid would start to look frustrated and angry, he would go in and he would say, "Dude, looks to me like your hurt part's getting the better of you." Give him a fist pump and go, "Let me know if you need some help with it." You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
it being control of your hurt part, not whatever he was trying to do.
Hmm.
But that would often very much redirect the child back to his own feelings and keep him from becoming too engrossed in the frustrating environmental triggers that was going on at the moment.
Well, I'd also pointed out that TSS had joined with the child in that moment
Mhm.
of what was
Yeah.
going
And the
on.
fist bump and the kind of joy, and it's not a big thing. You just
Hmm.
got a hurt part that's causing you a problem right now. This is not an overwhelming and devastating problem. It's just that's where you're at.
Yeah. Then the third section is about how we're able to highlight the growth
Mm.
in the children. Last week when we were playing Uno, you barely lasted the whole game. And this week, I mean, you lasted the whole game. This is really
Mhm.
great. I want to tell your mom about how well you did at Uno or softball
Mhm.
or Girl Scouts or whatever it
And that
was.
contrasting where you were to where you are, because again, the trauma damage causes them to be unable to recognize and to project positive outcomes for the future. So it becomes the team members, the
Hmm.
adults' job to highlight, last week when you were just learning this, remember how frustrated you were? You couldn't even roll the dough out.
Hmm.
Man, now you're just knocking it out,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, those reflective statements,
Mhm.
if we think of Bloom's taxonomy where things are on the concrete level all the way up to analytical, reflectivity is up there in the analytical pieces. And we want our kids' brains to mature and
Mhm.
that, so that they can become more evaluative, more analytical. And
Mhm.
by us doing that, showing them how, giving them the verbiage, will also help them develop reflective functioning.
Yeah, I mean, I've known team members who would just go up, even if a kid was in a detention
Hmm.
at at school and looking all downcast and angry. Again, it's the fist pump. It's the one of these days I heard part won't be doing this to you, buddy.
Hmm.
You'll get it.
Hmm.
You're already better than you used to be. You're going to be better yet tomorrow.
Yeah, that belief in the
Mhm.
growth piece. Then the last section is how to redirect the child back to the parent. And so often when there's, the child's at respite, grandma's, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, wherever, team members can be a support to the parents, even though the parents aren't present.
Well, let's be
That's
honest
a,
too.
that's a,
When you're trying to traumatize a parent, or when you're trying to raise a traumatized child, there is a part of you that when you get them at that respite,
yeah.
you just you want to distance yourself a little bit from them. So what the team member can do is kind of bridge that gap
Hmm.
with those little statements.
Yeah. I always like the, well, one is if the child's making any kind of accusations, it's, well, let's get mom on the phone right now. Let's check out that. I want to make sure that I got the story right, which is always a good thing for our kids too, to have the team working together instead of polarizing. Our kids are really great at triangulating people. So we always want to, let me call your mom. Let's check that one out. That's really important.
Not saying you're not a mandatory reporter.
That's
We're
right.
just saying check the little things out. You
Yes.
know, I like the statements like um, one of the hardest things that I've noticed is when a child goes somewhere for respite and suddenly they're having fun and they're
Hmm.
doing fun activities because the perfect kid comes out in those moments they're
Yeah.
projecting, and then the parents have this disconnect between, well, I get him when he's behaving badly, and then he's
Okay, so good for you at respite.
so the statement that the providers can do, the team members can do is, you know what? I bet your mom would love to see you doing this. I'm going to take some pictures.
Hmm.
So you whip out that phone and you take some pictures and you connect mom
Hmm.
to the fact that the kid can be here having this good time, which of course decreases the ability to triangulate, and in
Right.
the child's brain links it all together.
And that's where it's so important for us as parents to be empowered with knowledge so that we can say to our child when we are faced with that, glorious picture of our child having fun at somebody else's houses, where we can say, oh, looks like you were able to do okay over there at Aunt Susie's house because you weren't so afraid of being close to me and my love, and you could just kind of let down. But, we're going to work on this here too. I am happy to know that you can have fun for a little bit.
And usually when you think of a respite provider, a lot of times the children will run scams. Can I have that extra thing? Mom said I can have that extra,
Hmm.
serving of ice cream today. I can have a double helping.
Yes.
They'll say those stories. When with this technique, the team member can go, your mom told me you would say that, and she said it's okay for me to give you one.
Yeah, yeah. You have a really great mom.
Yep,
She wanted you to have a special serving.
yep. Well done.
Yes, I love the one mom who was so good about putting her picture in the pantry every time the kids went to steal stuff out of the pantry. Here's mom's picture. It says, please have
Hmm.
this snack." A respite provider can do the same thing. It's like, here's your mom's picture. She wanted you to know I'm to give you all the good stuff that I
You
want
know,
to.
you know, everything that I do for you, I do because you're my daughter's son.
That's right.
I'm your grandma because you're my daughter's son. Your
Yeah.
mom made all this possible.
Yes. Always those redirections back to the parent instead of I'm a great person, your mom's a bad person, or whatever
Mhm.
the kid would triangulate with. It's so important to tie those together. You know, our kids will heal much faster when all the adults in the world are doing and saying very similar things. They don't have to be exact, but
Mhm.
very similar.
All on the same page is what we're looking
Yes.
for. That's how the child makes a change in their own internal working models and starts to improve.
Yes. So we need to educate our parents and educate all of our support teams. And then you can use these kind of reframes to help your child overcome some of the problems that they've got. So
Yep.
thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.